So, as some of you might know, I am 23 years old. I'm getting up there. And I have owned quite a few cars in my time. My first ever car was a Toyota Camry. It had about 289,000 miles on it. Bought it for $1,000 from a friend. It lasted me quite a long time. I had over 300,000 miles on it when I sold it, and I got $400 out of it. The guy wanted it for parts, and back then I knew nothing about cars. I just knew my car wasn't running anymore. Well, it would run, but it wouldn't drive. I just knew it wasn't driving anymore. So when I learned more about cars, I found out it was just the harmonic balancer had literally fallen off when I was driving. That is not an expensive fix. I think it was like $80 for a new one for that car, so it could have gone much farther. When I sold that, I bought, it was a 1991 Honda Civic hatchback. It was light blue. It was awesome. It was a 4-speed manual. That's what I learned to ride manual on. I already had my motorcycle by then, so I knew how to ride a motorcycle, which helped a lot when learning to drive a manual car. But that thing was just, it had so much character. It was so old and dented up. I got it for $950, and I would literally start it up in my work parking lot, and the whole parking lot would just be white smoke. I'd have to put like a quart of oil in it every week, or more often than that maybe. And while I had that, I knew I wanted a new car, so I found a 1990 blue Mazda Miata. It was perfect. It was in St. Louis. I drove the 3+ hours to get there and get it. They wanted $3,500 for it, but when I got there, it turned out to be an automatic transmission when I thought they told me it would be a manual transmission. So I was very disappointed. I almost left without getting it, but then I somehow got them to give it to me for $1,000. So I got the Miata, and I drove that for a while. I sold the Honda to some guys who wanted to rice it out, basically, and I've seen it around town a couple times. It's pretty hilarious what they've done to it. The Miata didn't last long. Actually, I was on the interstate driving about 80. I heard a big pop and it stopped moving. It would run perfectly fine. I didn't know what was wrong with it, but I knew it was the transmission, and I don't like dealing with transmission stuff. It's usually costly. So I ended up trading that straight across for another Honda Civic hatchback. This one was red. It was like a 92, but it had an Acura Integra engine in it. It was a 5-speed, and this thing was zooming. It was quick, and it was pretty cool. And I got that traded straight across for the Miata. After I traded the Miata, the guy, he wanted it for parts, so it was no big deal. He sent me a picture. He pulled the transmission, and the transmission had a huge hole in the bottom of it. It was just a hole, and you could see right into everything. I don't know how that happened. After I got bored with the second Civic, I sold the Civic for about $1,800, I want to say, and then I bought myself, I wanted a Porsche 944, and I was gonna go get it, but they sold it. They kind of sold it out from under me, so I ended up getting the car I have now, a 1986 Pontiac Fiero with 60,000 miles on it, and it's been an awesome car. I've actually been thinking recently of selling that because I want another Miata. I want a manual Miata. I want to put a turbocharger on it. Technically, I've owned a 2000 Pontiac Firebird. It was one of the V6 automatic transmissions. And that was a decent car, a little too big and heavy for me. I also have a 2002 or 3 PT Cruiser, and that's just been a huge hassle. Bought it from the dealership. Never go to Cox Auto if you live in Springfield. Bought it from the dealership for a good price. It was listed for $1,400. So I go up there and they're like, oh, you're gonna have to pay more money for this car because we just had the ball joints replaced, so we're gonna need $1,600 instead. And so I was like, okay, that's not bad. And I did it. They had an inspection card from a shop across the street. So we got our own inspection. Turns out the ball joints were not replaced and they badly needed replacing. So did that, and then a couple weeks later, boom, head gasket pops. That's a $2,000 fix. And the dealership told me they noticed a bunch of stop leak in the cooling system. So I have a feeling they knew about this, and I was messaging them and contacting them to try to get them to pay me back or something, some kind of fix for what they did to me. And literally all they did was told me to come buy a different car from them. They just tried to get me to buy a different car. It was hilarious. I couldn't believe it. And when I told them, basically told them I'm never buying from them again, they just stopped messaging me. And I haven't heard from them since. So I've been leaving them bad reviews and things, and hopefully, that was about a year ago. Hopefully we can get something worked out. Alright guys, that's going to be about it. Let me know any of the cars you've had that you loved. Let me know if you've had any of the cars I've had. Don't forget to buy some of my stickers. Description box, or at the end of this video there will be a link. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.